Hello, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Um, I just got out of the shower, and I read a book by Somerset Maugham uh, entitled "The Razor's Edge." Uh, it's a fascinating book. Um, the the character in that book was a character of whom I would like to be like. I would love to have some qualities um, that guy that guy was. He had all the normal things. Actually, he had better the things that God gives you when you're born. Um, he was a handsome guy. He was of superior intelligence. He was athletic. The opposite sex liked him. Maybe the same sex too. I don't know. In today's world, who knows? But um, but he was searching. He was searching for the truth. He knew what most people say all the time. It's a very common thing. They say the thing that I know is that I know nothing. It's a very true statement. There's so many things we don't know, but as I read the book, I thought about some people who fit that mold, the mold of because we all have so much to learn, but those of us, rather than just saying that, those of us who really believe that, that's a step ahead because we really don't. This guy had all the things that most guys would want, but it wasn't enough. He wanted to know about God. He wanted to know if there was a world beyond ours, beyond what we know as the world, as Earth. Um, he was. Let me tell you what I thought about him. After a short while, I thought, geez, this guy is calm. CALM. This guy is the most calm guy that I've ever had the good fortune of reading about or knowing. He had a forbearance. Um, he was giving. He was always giving. He was searching himself. But whatever new information he found out, he was willing to give it. Like paying it forward. He was, there was greed. The word greed was not even included in his dictionary. Um, he wanted to travel. He wanted to learn things, and don't for one minute think, oh well, you gotta have money to try. No, this guy had no money. He I think he went to the Air Force or something, and of course he scored highly on all the exams, and they would have sent him to Quantico or Langley immediately, but that's not what he wanted to do. So I guess he had his little VA money because he was very young, so he didn't have Social Security. But but he just wanted to know. So he he went down to the docks and hung around, and just luckily he asked some guy who worked on a ship, how do you get on a ship? How do you travel? And the guy, he made friends with him, and he got a job. I don't know, doing something. He wound up being an oiler on the ship, but it afforded him the opportunity to travel. So he traveled. He learned. He was thirsty. Boy, was he thirsty for knowledge. He learned many, 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 many things. I'm just thinking now about an IQ exam. There have probably been some real geniuses that didn't score very high on an IQ exam, but if that happened, it's because their mind, their brain was sheltered. They had not read, they had not seen, they had not heard of all the things that the world has to offer. If they were privileged to all those, to seeing and hearing and reading all those things, it would go in their memory bank, and they would probably score 191 on an IQ exam. But he thought of the people on earth as being drops of rain. And then he thought, wow, then what happens? You're a drop of rain. I don't care how high you drop from the sky or the stratosphere or ionosphere or whatever. Eventually you wind up, as a drop of rain, you wind up in the ocean or a river or stream or something, which still leads to an ocean, though those are just tributaries. But he wanted to know what was there. What was it? Was it better? Was it worse to go from a drop of rain into a river or an ocean? Would life be better? If it's called life anyway, whatever it's called, would he feel better? Would he suffer the inconsistencies of man here on earth? Would he be greedy? Would he need money or whatever means of transaction that people use on earth? Everybody here on earth is like a drop of rain. And as a drop of rain, you fall down and you're into an ocean. So you want to know if God has a place for you, is it better? Is it better than being here? You want to know those things, because that part of greed you can understand. You want the best for yourself. So you want to know, is there something after this life? And through the whole book, I don't know if he found that particular answer. What he did find is that to gather and gain information, and then to pass that information on to your fellow man, is the thing to do, the way to go. the direction to take. Every bit of knowledge that he gained, he was so open and free with it that and throughout the book, the people that he met, they could slowly, progressively see those things in him, and those of us who took the time to notice and understand that he was a selfless individual, a person who was always willing to give. Those few people, that there were many that witnessed his way of acting and being, but they didn't really understand it. But some of them knew that he was on to a trail that was a great trail, a very interesting and great journey. And so they were willing to give him things. Throughout his life, people that he would meet, he was so unselfish and giving. People, after meeting him, they would want to give him things. That way of living made him so very calm, so comprehensive of everything going on around him. Nothing excited him. I don't know. There was nothing in the book about his vital signs or anything, but I'm sure his vital signs were perfect, whatever perfect is. His blood pressure was 120/80. I don't know. He was calm. He was giving. He was loving. He was helpful. He put himself at the tail end of everything. If he were on the bus and he saw an accident, a car accident on the street, he would get off the bus and he wouldn't get in anybody's way. He wouldn't tell the EMTs or the doctor or the nurses, "Hey, move over, let me do this." It just so happened that he knew so many things. He would probably get off the bus and a person in the car accident, if he were standing there and he was present, he probably would do a tracheotomy. He probably would. He certainly had the nerve and the knowledge through reading of how to cut a hole in the cut a hole to get some air through past the epiglottis into the esophagus, into to get air to a person's lungs. Maybe the alveoli in their lungs had fused together. I'm just making up something here, but he couldn't get air. But whatever the task, whatever was necessary humanly, um, he knew something about it. More than something, he knew a lot about a lot of things. And he was always giving. He was helpful. And what I learned was the end result. I'm human like everybody else. I'd like to drive around in a Bentley and have a big giant house and be able to pay tuition at USC or UCLA or something for my children and buy them things that I thought would make them happy, and not just happy, but because on my list, happy is not the top. It's not tantamount. Make them successful and happy in life. So I like those things too, but this guy, it looked like those kind of material things and worldly goods, those things were at the bottom, way at the bottom of his list, which is why his blood pressure and respiration and his pulse, why everything was probably very near perfect. There was nothing that I couldn't think of anything that could stress this guy out. Nothing stressed him out. There's an answer to everything. And I'm saying it like this because I don't think, and I'm probably not smart enough, but at the end of the book, I don't think that he found all the answers, because he traveled and read and talked to people and learned from people. He spent years traveling all over the world, and he still wasn't satisfied. He went somewhere to Tibet or someplace that's very famous for monks and people who are celibate, who are very religious, who make God their supreme leader. And he went to a monastery in, I probably got it wrong, in Tibet, and he talked to those guys, and the chief said, "Well, you're pretty sharp. You're learning things, and in fact, I like the way you're going at it, because you know that you may not ever learn everything." Wow. Now that's something. Starting or beginning a task that you know beforehand that you won't ever defeat it, or maybe not defeat it, or you won't ever know everything about it and be the best at it. And then maybe he was the best at what he was searching for, and he was searching for the truth. But he talked to this monk, and he told him, "Well, you've read and learned things and talked to people. It's very tricky, but we've got a mountain here that's pretty darn high, maybe the highest in the world. Maybe I'll get a couple of the brothers to pack a mule or 2 mules with some food and supplies and things you may need for however long you think you may be. But don't get it mixed up, but do you think God is upward, So do you think if you travel on this mountain up and up and up, closer to what we don't know, closer to the sun or whatever's past the sun, which is where God is, you think that will help you? And he said, well, I don't know, but like I don't know everything, but yeah, I would like to do that. I would like to travel up the mountain and see if I can get closer to God. Very, very dangerous. A dangerous journey. You don't know how much food to pack. You don't know how many mules you need to take. How many supplies, how much water, you don't know. But as with everything, he was searching for God, but he had faith in God. Yeah, he had faith because he knew God would not let him die of hunger or thirst. And I'm saying that maybe he thought if God did, I mean, not because God doesn't hurt anybody, but if he did die of hunger or thirst or whatever, it was meant to be. Maybe it was meant to show the next searcher of truth the journey. So he trekked up the mountain, and the guys who lived over there, the monks that lived, who knew everything about the mountain, they went with him as far as they could go, and they let him go, and he trekked up higher, and he was praying and wondering and asking, and he went so high up this mountain, and this is, I don't know, in the 40s or something. I didn't see him bring any mountain climbing tools or ropes or hooks or whatever they use. He didn't have any of that. But he went up so high, he said he was about ready to come back down the mountain. And he woke up one morning. He didn't wake up. God woke him up. He was sleeping near a little opening in a cave. And he said the light that shined on him in that cave was a light that he had never read about, dreamed about. And maybe it was God. Maybe God talked to him, because as long as that light lasted, which I'm unsure of, and the author, Somerset Maugham, is unsure of it, but whenever the light dissipated and he was able to see clearly again, and then he started his journey home. And he went home, and my gosh, he traveled all the way back to his hometown. The people he grew up with, he met them and he talked to them. And everybody that he talked to, new friends, but especially his old friends, they already liked him and stuff anyway, but they were so pleased with him because he had answers for everything. And his calm Spirit gave them strength and inspiration, searching for the truth, looking for God. It's a lot to think about.